Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. How are you? Oh, welcome to my YouTube channel. So, this is Father Chris once again, inviting you to listen to my discussion about the topic that we are going to discuss today. This is all about the spiritual gifts of the Holy Spirit. So, as mentioned in my previous video, I said that there are 7 topics that we need to discuss about the spiritual gifts of the Holy Spirit. And the first topic that we are going to discuss today is all about the spiritual gifts. What are the spiritual gifts? Okay, what are the spiritual gifts? So, as an introduction of the topic that we are going to discuss, I would like to share with you first the teachings of St. Paul and of the Catholic Church about this topic, the spiritual gifts. Okay? So that we may be guided well and have a good foundation in our discussions. You know, St. Paul said, I don't want you to be uninformed about spiritual gifts, brethren. And he begins chapter 12 of his first letter to the Corinthians with these words. He wishes to provide them with information on spiritual gifts. He wants the Corinthians to understand what spiritual gifts are and how they should be used in the church's life. He is concerned because he knows that the spiritual gifts can be both a source of strength and a source of trouble for the church. It is difficult to imagine, my brothers and sisters, what St. Paul would say to the church today. He did not want the Corinthians to be uninformed. But few Catholics today are aware of what he wanted the Corinthians to be aware of. Few people, Catholic people, understand what spiritual gifts are or how they fit into the life of the church. Now that there is a revival of spiritual gifts among Catholics, with many people experiencing prophecy, healing, speaking in tongues, and other manifestations of the Holy Spirit, it is more important than ever, okay, to understand the role of these manifestations of the Holy Spirit in the life of the church. As Catholics, we have grown up hearing stories about the supernatural works of the saints and the miracles that take place at the shrines. We have not forgotten that God heals directly, that he speaks through prophecies, and that miraculous events accompany his work. The Catholic Church has also maintained the importance of spiritual gifts in its teaching. In the Summa Theologiae section on graces freely given, Thomas Aquinas taught that Christians, require spiritual gifts because Christian revelation contains truths that are beyond man's ability to comprehend. As a result, a Christian must seek out and preach the truth, and his preaching must be accompanied by music in order for others to believe. Even in our own time today, the church taught Christians at the Vatican Council to expect spiritual gifts. The Council Fathers, state in the Decree on the Lay Apostolate, section 3, and I quote, for the exercise of this apostolate of evangelization, the Holy Spirit who sanctifies the people of God through the ministry and the sacraments gives to the faithful special gifts as well, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7, allotting to everyone according as he will. 1 Corinthians 12:11. Thus may the individual, according to the gifts that each has received, administer it to one another and become good stewards of the manifold grace of God. 1 Peter 4:10. And build up the whole body in charity. Ephesians 4:16. From reception of these charisms or gifts, including those which are less dramatic, there arises for each believer the right and duty to use them in the church and in the world for the good of mankind and for the upbuilding of the church. End of quotes. The church's constitution also states something similar, section 12. The fact that the Council Fathers emphasize what are known as the less dramatic gifts suggests that they also expect the more dramatic gifts, such as those mentioned by Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And furthermore, the Bible tells us that we should anticipate these gifts. As the Gospel of Mark concludes, the reason Christ addresses the apostles saying, and I quote, "Go into the world and preach the gospel to the whole creation. He who believes and is baptized will be saved, but he who does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will accompany those who believe. In my name they will cast out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it will not hurt them. They will lay their hands on the sick, and they will recover." End of quotes. Or St. Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and I quote, "Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. And as for knowledge, it will pass away. For our knowledge is imperfect, and our prophecy is imperfect. But when the perfect comes, the imperfect will pass away." End of quotes. The phrase, "the coming of the perfect," must refer to the second coming. It is most emphatically not referring to anything that has already occurred, or who has yet to suggest that the perfect has arrived and we are now face to face. We can anticipate spiritual gifts until Christ returns. Okay? We should expect to see spiritual gifts in the life of the church as Catholics. It should come as no surprise that they are becoming as common today as they were in the New Testament. We know that a special work of the Holy Spirit will be required if the church is to be renewed and the world is to be led to Christ. Renew your wonders this day as by a new Pentecost. Pope John Paul II prayed for the Vatican Council. Brethren, hopefully you understand what I am telling you, and that on the next video that we will be doing, I will be talking to you about the spiritual gifts. Okay, what are the first topic that we are going to discuss is the topic about the spiritual gifts. What are the spiritual gifts? So please do not leave me. I need you to listen to me. I need you to watch me and listen to me so that you will come to understand the spiritual gifts of the Holy Spirit, and that after understanding you will come to love more, okay, to desire more this Holy Spirit to be part of your life. Because once we understand these spiritual gifts of the Holy Spirit, okay, we will be moved to be transformed. So hopefully on the next video you will listen to me. Brethren, I would say this is Father Chris once again telling you, let us serve the Lord with joy and gladness with all the days of our life. See you then. See you then. See you then. Thank you very much. Bye.